He says, there are those who give little of the much which they have, and they give it for recognition, and their hidden desire makes their gifts unwholesome. So this next section, he talks about grades of giving. In fact, that was what he touched on in the last section. So he describes again a new framework for looking at different levels of giving, different grades of it. The first one he's talking about is really not giving at all. He actually says their gifts are unwholesome. So what's motivating the dispensation of their wealth, shall we say? He says they give it for recognition, and their hidden desire makes their gift unwholesome. So there's two things here. One is that they're only giving a small amount, so there's no real sacrifice. Implicit or inherent in giving is the notion that we are sacrificing something. Whether it's our wealth, our time, or as he says in that last section, giving of ourselves. There's a sense of sacrifice. In this line here, he says, there are those who give little of the much which they have. So what have they really given up? What have they sacrificed? Nothing. Then why are they doing it at all? They give it for recognition. So this is transactional. I will give you this in order that I receive something in return. So this is not giving at all. This is trade. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with trade, but there is something wrong with masking trade as charity. Okay, it's a fair trade. I'm going to give you money towards your organization, and I'm going to have my business advertised as a result. It's a fair trade. Nothing wrong with that. But it's unwholesome when you put forward the image of being a giver, but inwardly you're a taker. He says, and there are those who have little and give it all. These are the believers in life and the bounty of life, and their coffer is never empty. So while the first person's giving was based in ego and personal interest, this person's giving is based in an abundance mindset. There is a belief in life, which is that the nature of nature is to dispense with its wealth. Everything moves, everything transacts with each other. So there's a belief in life which is that as I give, so shall I be given. These are the believers in life. They have very little, but they give it all. There is that faith that my coffers will never be empty. It's not being done with the knowledge, oh, I'm going to get a return on this. This is not transactional. It's an intuitive understanding. There's a beautiful image that was presented by Swami Ramatirtha. Those who give, who do good in the community, they marshal all sorts of forces from around themselves that bring in resources and help. And he likens it to a flame. He says when you have a flame burning, oxygen rushes inwards to fill the vacuum created by the burning. In a similar way, as we do good works, as we give, naturally resources rush inwards to keep the flame burning. There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward. So the sharing now is based in a sense of joy. And when the giving is transacted, that joy is ignited. He says there are those who give with pain, and that pain is their baptism. So again, there's a sense in which there is a sacrifice. Something painful is happening in the giving up. It's not talking here about a sort of meaningless self-flagellation. It's talking about objectivity. They know what they are doing. They know why they are doing it. They are a witness to their own grief and pain as they do so. They are objective to it. Think about maybe parents. The parent gives up a great deal of their freedom, their life. There's a pain that may be associated with that, but that pain in its own way has a beauty to it. It's not that it's forced. In fact, the very act of giving with pain implies that it's more of a choice. If you have something and giving it away brings you joy, then you're following the natural instinct of every sentient creature, which is to follow its joy. It's very easy to give when the joy is associated with it. But when giving is associated with pain, with loss, it's much more difficult. So it actually implies a greater degree of free choice. What it means is that while there's one aspect of your personality which is uncomfortable or in pain, there is another more mature, more embracing aspect of your personality which recognizes this is my obligation and I'm doing good. So it's not an internally conflicted state. It's rather a subtler aspect of your personality embracing the grosser. When I remember my higher purpose, then that part of your personality experiences a kind of joy. So you experience that displeasure with pleasure. This is the right thing for me to do, but there's a part of me which is grieving as a result. And as we are able to sit with pain in an objective way, it allows us to contact that deeper part of ourselves. We go more deeply within ourselves. It's a purification. So if you think about what a baptism actually is, it's a ritual that symbolizes a purification, a transformation. So when you give with pain, you are walking through difficulty. And that difficulty transforms you. Post-traumatic growth. You may be familiar with this idea. The idea that pain, grief, loss, when managed properly, result in your resilience, a purification of your weakness, a purification of your ego. So give with pain and recognize that this is transformative. Give with joy and express that joy. Give believing that life will give unto life, and recognize that this is the nature of nature, which is to pump through the lifeblood into the entire body of humanity.